Ladies and gentlemen, you are not your mistakes. You are not the sum of your failures. Too many of you are walking around carrying the heavy weight of self-criticism, constantly beating yourself up over every decision, every flaw, every misstep. But let me tell you something. If you want to reach your full potential, if you want to truly succeed in this life, you must first learn to stop being so hard on yourself. You were never created to be perfect. Perfection is an illusion. It is a mirage in a distance that will always move further away the closer you get to it. So stop chasing something that was never meant for you. Instead, embrace the truth. You were created with purpose. You were designed to grow, to evolve, to learn. You are not a finished product. You are a masterpiece in progress. The key to success is not in never making mistakes, but in learning from them. If you can't accept that your growth involves challenges, you'll be paralyzed by the fear of failure. You must embrace failure as your teacher, not as your enemy. When you fall down, you don't stay down, you rise. You get back up. Because each time you rise, you become stronger. Each time you overcome a challenge, you increase your capacity to achieve even more. But if you are stuck in the cycle of self-judgment, you will never tap into that power within you. You will stay stuck in the past, focusing on what went wrong rather than looking forward to what can go right. You see, life isn't about avoiding difficulties, it's about facing them head-on with courage. You were never promised a life free from obstacles, but you were promised the strength to overcome them. Every setback is an opportunity for a comeback. Every failure is a lesson in resilience. So stop being so hard on yourself when things don't go as planned. Stop treating yourself like you are incapable of growth. You are not defined by your circumstances. You are defined by your response to them. One of the biggest traps we fall into is comparing ourselves to others. Social media bombards us with images of success, wealth, happiness, and perfection. And we begin to think that we should be at that level too. Or we begin to feel inadequate because we haven't achieved what others have. But let me remind you, everyone is on their own journey. The path you are on is uniquely yours. Don't measure your progress by the pace of someone else's journey. You were designed for greatness. But that greatness will be realized on your terms, not someone else's. Learn to be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace. Acknowledge your efforts even when you fall short. Celebrate your small victories because they're stepping stones to the bigger triumphs ahead. Every day you wake up, you have an opportunity to begin again. Every new day is a blank page in the book of your life. What will you write today? Will you continue to beat yourself up? Or will you choose to see the possibilities and growth that lie ahead? Don't hold yourself hostage with your past. Don't suffocate your future by dwelling on what you didn't do yesterday. Your life is not over. The best chapters of your story are still waiting to be written. So stop being so hard on yourself and start being the author of your own success. You have everything you need within you to create the life you desire. Now it's time to believe it. Perfection is often seen as the ultimate goal, something to be pursued relentlessly. However, this pursuit is both misleading and limiting. The idea that we must be perfect in order to succeed or be valuable is a myth that traps so many individuals in a cycle of frustration and self-doubt. Perfection in its truest sense does not exist. It is an ideal that constantly shifts and moves further away the closer we get to it. The more we chase it, the more we fall short. This constant chase can leave us feeling exhausted, defeated, and unworthy because we are measuring ourselves against an impossible standard. We must understand that imperfection is not only a part of life, it is essential to our growth. We were not created to be flawless beings. Each one of us is born with strengths, weaknesses, quirks, and flaws that make us unique. These imperfections are not things to be ashamed of, but are integral to who we are. The truth is that imperfection allows for growth and transformation. It is through making mistakes, failing, and struggling that we learn how to persevere, how to adapt, and how to become better versions of ourselves. Imagine if we were all perfect. If we had no flaws, no struggles, what would there be to learn from? How would we know what it feels like to overcome a challenge or to rise from failure? The beauty of life lies in the process of becoming, not in the state of having arrived. Every mistake you make, every obstacle you face, every time you fail and get back up, these moments are the building blocks of your character, your resilience, and your wisdom. When we embrace imperfection, we free ourselves from the crushing weight of unrealistic expectations. We give ourselves permission to be human. We allow room for growth and improvement without the pressure to be perfect from the very start. This shift in perspective is liberating because it releases the fear of failure. If perfection is no longer the goal, we can focus on progress, learning, and becoming the best version of ourselves in each phase of life. Moreover, perfectionism can cause us to overlook the beauty in our flaws. Each imperfection tells a story. Each flaw carries a lesson, and every imperfection has the potential to make us stronger. The scars we accumulate through challenges do not diminish our value, they enhance it. They are proof of our ability to survive, adapt, and grow. We should not hide our flaws or feel ashamed of them. Instead, we should honor them for what they represent. The courage to continue, the willingness to try, and the wisdom that comes from overcoming. It is important to remember that growth does not happen overnight, nor does it happen in a straight line. It is a messy, often non-linear process that is rich with lessons and discoveries. You cannot rush growth. It takes time, patience, and most importantly, acceptance. Accept that you will make mistakes. Accept that you will stumble. But most importantly, accept that you will rise again. This is the essence of progress, embracing the imperfections that make you uniquely capable of achieving great things. So let go of the illusion of perfection. Instead, embrace the process, knowing that it is your imperfections that will ultimately shape your success. Failure is not something to fear. It is not something that should define your worth or your future. In fact, failure is one of the most important components of success. Every time you fall, you are given an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to emerge stronger. Failure is not the end of your journey. It is a stepping stone to your next level of achievement. The real failure lies not in falling, but in refusing to get up after you've been knocked down. When you face setbacks or challenges, it's easy to internalize them as a reflection of your inability to succeed. You might think you are not good enough or capable enough to overcome the obstacle in front of you. But the truth is, failure is not a reflection of your worth. It's simply a reflection of the fact that you are pushing the boundaries of your current knowledge, skill set, or experience. You are stepping outside your comfort zone and venturing into new territories. The very act of failure signifies growth, because it shows that you are trying, that you are putting in effort, and that you are not giving up. Every failure is an opportunity for feedback, for self-reflection, and for refinement of your approach. Think about it. Every successful person has encountered failure at some point in their journey. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is their response to failure. The successful individuals are not immune to setbacks, but they view them differently. They don't see failure as the end, they see it as a challenge to overcome, a lesson to be learned, and a stepping stone towards success. They embrace failure as part of the process. In fact, they often fail more than others because they take more risks, push further, and try harder. They understand that every failure brings them closer to the breakthrough they are looking for. It is essential to reframe how we view failure. Instead of seeing it as something to avoid, we need to see it as something to embrace. Each failure provides valuable lessons that success could never teach. When you fail, you are given an opportunity to examine what went wrong, adjust your approach, and try again with greater wisdom. Failure forces you to grow in ways that success cannot. It builds resilience, grit, and determination. When you fail and get back up, you prove to yourself that you are stronger, more capable, and more determined than you once believed. Furthermore, failure helps to develop humility. It reminds us that we are not invincible, that we are human, and that we need to continually evolve. Without failure, we would become complacent and stagnant. We would never push ourselves to go beyond what we already know. It is through overcoming failure that we become better versions of ourselves, more equipped to face the challenges that lie ahead. The fear of failure holds so many people back from reaching their potential. They avoid risks, they play it safe, and they never step out of their comfort zones. But in doing so, they miss out on the opportunities for growth that come from taking chances, making mistakes, and learning from them. The key to success is not in avoiding failure, but embracing it as part of the journey. Remember that failure is not a reflection of who you are. It is simply an event, an experience that carries the potential to shape you into a stronger, wiser, and more resilient person. So the next time you fail, don't see it as the end. See it as a sign that you are on the path to something greater. Self-criticism is one of the most debilitating forces that can hold you back from reaching your potential. Many of us have been taught to push ourselves relentlessly, to strive for perfection, and to constantly evaluate ourselves through a lens of judgment. We become our harshest critics, scrutinizing every mistake and shortcoming, and this constant negative self-talk erodes our confidence and motivation. It is time to break free from this pattern. You must learn to stop being so hard on yourself, because the truth is, you are doing the best you can with the knowledge and resources you have in this moment. The inner voice that tells you that you're not enough, or that you'll never succeed, is often the loudest and most persistent. It can drown out the voices of encouragement, hope, and possibility. But the truth is, this inner critic is not the voice of reason or wisdom. It's the voice of fear, insecurity, and doubt. It feeds on your insecurities and magnifies your mistakes, but it never tells you the full story. It never reminds you of how far you've come, how many obstacles you've overcome, or how much potential lies within you. When you criticize yourself, you are not acknowledging your efforts, your resilience, or your growth. Instead, you are focusing on the things you didn't do, the things that didn't go as planned, and the moments where you fell short. Self-criticism creates a false narrative, one where failure becomes personal and permanent, but that is not the reality. Failure is not who you are, it's something you experience. You are not defined by your shortcomings or mistakes. You are defined by how you respond to them. When you embrace your humanity and allow yourself the grace to fail, to make mistakes, and to learn, you free yourself from the burden of unrealistic expectations. You open the door to growth, to improvement, and to the possibility of a future that is shaped by your willingness to try and to learn. It is essential to treat yourself with the same compassion that you would extend to a friend or loved one. Would you berate someone you care about every time they made a mistake? Would you tell them that they are not good enough, not capable enough, or that they should give up? No, you would encourage them, lift them up, and remind them of their strengths and their potential. You would offer them kindness and support because you recognize their worth and understand that mistakes are part of the human experience. It is time to extend that same kindness to yourself. You are not perfect, and that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay, it's beautiful. Your imperfections are part of what makes you unique, and they are the spaces where growth happens. When you stop being so hard on yourself, you allow room for progress and change. You can acknowledge your mistakes without condemning yourself. You can strive for success without the crippling pressure to be perfect. This shift in perspective is incredibly freeing because it takes the weight off your shoulders and allows you to move forward with a sense of confidence and peace. Remember that growth is a journey, not a destination. There will be moments of doubt, failure, and frustration, but instead of criticizing yourself, treat yourself with patience and understanding. Be gentle with yourself when things don't go as planned, and celebrate the progress you make, no matter how small. Recognize that you are enough, just as you are. You are doing the best you can, and that is all that matters. Stop being so hard on yourself and give yourself the grace to grow, to stumble, and to rise again. Comparing yourself to others is one of the quickest ways to stifle your own potential and happiness. We live in a world where comparison is rampant, particularly with the rise of social media, where everyone seems to be showcasing their highlights, their successes, their achievements, their perfect moments. But let me remind you that what you see on the surface is only a small fraction of the story. No one's journey is exactly the same, and yet so many of us fall into the trap of measuring our progress against the lives of others. This can leave us feeling inadequate, discouraged, and disheartened because we are comparing our beginning to someone else's middle or end. The truth is, no one has walked your path. No one has had the exact same experiences, challenges, or opportunities that you've had. Your journey is unique to you, and your pace is your own. Comparing yourself to others only distracts you from your own path and the specific goals that are meant for you. Each individual is on their own timeline, and just because someone else has reached a certain milestone doesn't mean you should be there too. It's not a race. And your journey is not meant to follow anyone else's blueprint. When you compare yourself to others, you're often not seeing the full picture. You don't know the struggles, the failures, or the sacrifices that have been made behind closed doors. What you see is a curated version of reality, carefully crafted to show only the highlights. People rarely share the moments of doubt, fear, and disappointment, but behind every success is a story of perseverance, hard work, and sometimes failure. You are not privy to the behind-the-scenes footage of someone's life, and yet you judge yourself harshly because you haven't reached the same level. This is an unfair comparison and an unfair standard to hold yourself to. Your path is not meant to mirror anyone else's. Your unique gifts, talents, and aspirations shape the direction you are meant to go. When you compare yourself to others, you diminish the beauty of your own uniqueness. You are not meant to fit into someone else's mold. You are meant to forge your own. Your potential is vast, but it is also different from anyone else's. The world needs your individuality. It needs you to step into the fullness of who you are, not to copy someone else's success. When you focus on your own journey, you become more empowered to realize your true potential. Comparing yourself to others also steals your joy. When you're constantly measuring your worth based on someone else's achievements, you miss out on the satisfaction of your own progress. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. And yet, if you're only looking at where others are, you overlook the beautiful progress you've made in your own life. You begin to feel like your success isn't enough, even though you've accomplished so much. This breeds frustration, dissatisfaction, and a lack of appreciation for the strides you've already made. Remember, growth is personal. You are not in competition with anyone else. The only person you need to compete with is the person you were yesterday. Your focus should be on improving yourself, on setting goals that align with your purpose, and on moving forward in a way that feels true to you. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you will find that there is more space for gratitude, fulfillment, and confidence in your own journey. You are exactly where you need to be, and your progress is valuable in its own right. We often forget that we are our own greatest supporters. So many times, we are quick to lift others up, to encourage them, to celebrate their victories, yet we fail to offer ourselves the same kindness. We are the ones who are with ourselves every step of the way, yet we often treat ourselves with the least amount of compassion. Being kind to yourself is not a luxury or something that only some people deserve. It is a necessity for growth, happiness, and success. The way you treat yourself profoundly impacts the way you approach life and challenges. If you are harsh, judgmental, and unforgiving with yourself, you will limit your ability to reach your fullest potential. When you stop being so hard on yourself, you create a space where you can acknowledge your strengths and progress. Self-kindness is not about ignoring your flaws or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that despite the imperfections, you are doing the best you can, and that is enough. Life is challenging, and growth takes time. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate the small victories, because they are the building blocks of bigger achievements. Every effort you make toward your goals, no matter how small, is a step forward and deserves recognition. When you treat yourself with kindness, you become more resilient in the face of setbacks because you are not weighed down by self-criticism. Think about how much more you could accomplish if you stopped holding yourself back with negative self-talk. When you are constantly thinking of all the things you've done wrong or all the ways you're not measuring up, you are draining yourself of the energy needed to keep moving forward. Self-compassion gives you the strength to keep going even when things aren't going as planned. It allows you to keep your head up knowing that even if you fail, you are worthy of love and respect. It reminds you that failure does not define you. It's just one part of the process. Moreover, self-kindness opens the door to creativity and innovation. When you stop judging yourself for every mistake, you free yourself to think outside the box, take risks, and explore new opportunities. The fear of making mistakes holds many people back, and this fear is often rooted in the belief that failing means you are inadequate. But when you adopt a mindset of self-compassion, you realize that mistakes are not the end. They are simply a part of the journey towards success. You give yourself permission to experiment, to try new things, and to grow in the process. This willingness to embrace mistakes and learn from them allows you to develop new skills and discover your true potential. Being kind to yourself also means giving yourself rest and recovery. In our fast-paced world, we often push ourselves to the limit, expecting ourselves to work tirelessly and achieve everything at once. But neglecting your well-being and mental health will only lead to burnout and stagnation. Rest is just as important as effort. Giving yourself permission to slow down, to recharge, and to take care of your emotional and physical health is a form of self-respect. When you prioritize your well-being, you are better equipped to take on the challenges ahead with a clearer mind and a more focused heart. Ultimately, self-kindness is a transformative practice that empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It creates a foundation of self-worth that allows you to rise above your fears, doubts, and limitations. You build the courage to pursue your dreams, to embrace failure as part of the process, and to continue forward with confidence. The path to success isn't always easy, but when you are kind to yourself, you make the journey one of growth, fulfillment, and transformation. In the end, the most important thing you can do is to stop being so hard on yourself. You are not defined by your mistakes, your failures, or the mistakes of others. Your journey is uniquely yours, and it unfolds at your own pace. Embrace your imperfections, for they are the stepping stones to growth and success. Learn from every setback and view failure not as an enemy, but as a teacher guiding you towards resilience and strength. Stop comparing yourself to others, for their journey is different from yours, and your path is meant to be walked in your own way. Most importantly, treat yourself with the kindness and grace that you so freely offer to others. Your progress is valuable no matter how small it seems, and every step forward deserves celebration. You are enough, just as you are. Every mistake, every failure, every triumph, no matter how big or small, is part of your beautiful journey. So, release the pressure of perfection, trust the process, and be your own biggest supporter. In doing so, you will uncover a strength and resilience within yourself that will propel you towards the greatness you are destined for. Believe in yourself and continue moving forward, for the best is yet to come.